Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Cole Phillips, author of The Adventure of the Twisted Truths and host of the Book and Dagger. And today we will be concluding our series of Let the Blademasters Take the Stage with part 3. So let's just jump right into it. Spoilers, so you are forewarned. With this, we will be continuing our series and we'll be coming to our number 9 sword fight on this list. And this is another Lord of the Rings fight. This is Aragorn versus the Ringwraiths on Weathertop. Now, there are two different versions of this fight I actually want to talk about. The first one is in the book, obviously. Now, in the book, Aragorn, who's known as Strider at this time, and the hobbits are camped at the base of Weathertop. And it's all described from Frodo's point of view. And five of the Ringwraiths approach, and they come and they attack. And Frodo puts on the ring and gets stabbed in the shoulder by the Witch King and his Morgul blade. Now, at this moment in the books, it cuts out because Frodo loses consciousness, and it says in the books the last thing he sees is Strider leaping from the shadows, a burning brand in each hand. Now, in the movies, they portrayed a little bit of a different approach. Because Tolkien did not specifically say what happened other than that Strider fought the Ringwraiths off, Peter Jackson, when he made the movies, took a little bit of liberty. And he decided that he wanted to do an actual sword fight scene with Aragorn, which I feel, as a Tolkien fan, I feel that does do it a little justice, because I feel like Aragorn is an amazing sword fighter, as they say in the books time and time again. And I just feel like this Weathertop moment was kind of a scene where I wish they hadn't. One of the rare moments where I wish J.R.R. Tolkien hadn't done a story the way. I wish he hadn't told it from Frodo's point of view, and just I wish we had gotten to see Aragorn go toe to toe with 5 Ringwraiths in the books. Now, we did get that in the movies, which I think pleased a lot of Tolkien fans, because in the movies we actually get to see just how powerful Aragorn is. Now, the Ringwraiths, we all know that their main weapons are fear and despair. So the mere sight of a Ringwraith, or just one approaching, is enough to send 9 out of 10 men will just freeze up and be terrified and just back away and they can't do anything, because all just the fear and despair just emitting from the Ringwraiths themselves. Aragorn, however, is one of the last of the descendants of the kings of Numenor. Well, he's the last descendant of the king of Numenor, and one of the last few people in the world who have Numenorean blood. So the blood of the Edain runs through him. And so the Ringwraiths, he is actually kind of immune to their dark powers of fear and despair. And in the movies, we see a fight scene where he has a burning brand in one hand, his sword in the other, and he proceeds to take on the 5 Ringwraiths. And this is just an epic fight scene for many people. For many Tolkien fans who watched the movies, were pretty, like me, I was pretty excited when I saw that, because it was yes, Aragorn is getting the recognition as an amazing sword fighter he deserves. And for a lot of first-time viewers who have never read the books, this is also a great introduction to Aragorn, as you get to see just how cool he is with the blade. And he's not just some random mere ranger wandering in the wild. He is actually a highly skilled man. And with that, we're going to move on to number 9 in our series, which is another Lord of the Rings fight. We got 2 back-to-back. This is a very, very iconic fight in the Lord of the Rings. It is Éowyn and Merry versus the Witch King of Angmar. Now, if you know anything about the Lord of the Rings, you know there's the iconic scene in the movies where the Witch King is no man can kill me. And this is actually really important Tolkien lore, because a long time ago, there was this elf who spoke a prophecy, and he said that the Witch King of Angmar would not fall by the hand of man. And so this terrifies a lot in the present day Lord of the Rings. A lot of people present in Middle-earth don't really know what this prophecy means. They're like, oh, if he can't, they basically interpret it as, oh, he can't die, which sucks, because the Witch King of Angmar is insanely powerful. And whenever he comes, the battlefield just turns into a pit of despair for his foes. And this happens on the Battle of the Pelennor Fields. Rohan has come to aid the city of Minas Tirith and the kingdom of Gondor in their plight because they are surrounded by hundreds of thousands of orcs and goblins and catapults and trolls, and it's just this horrid army that Sauron has just surrounding Minas Tirith. And their gate has just been shattered by Grond, the hammer of the underworld of old, massive battering ram. Um, and then Rohan shows up, and they charge and they sweep across the fields. And victory appears to be returning to the good guys. And the Witch King of Angmar swoops in on his fell beast, and he brings ruin and death with him. And he overthrows the king, and the king falls, and his horse falls on top of him. The king of Rohan, Theoden. And this is kind of all from, then it's all described from Mariotic Brandybuck, the Hobbit, Merry's point of view. And he's like crawling on the ground because he's been thrown from his horse when the Witch King came. And he sees the knight who gave him a ride to the battlefield, a man named Durnhelm. So in the book, I'm going to break down. I'm actually going to tell you what happens in the books and then what happens in the movies. They're very similar. There's just a few little differences. So in the books, Merry, the king Theoden tells Merry, "Look, don't come to war with me. This war is not for hobbits." Basically, he's trying to protect Merry. He doesn't want him in danger. But Merry is given a boost. He's like, this knight of Rohan rides up to him and is like, "I'll give you a ride to the battle. You can ride with me on my horse." And Merry's like, "Thank you. I don't know your name." The knight's like, "Just call me Durnhelm." And so they arrive on the field, and Merry sees Durnhelm. After this, the Witch King has come in. Merry sees Durnhelm facing the Witch King, and the Witch King's sitting on his towering beast, and Durnhelm's standing on the ground with sword and shield. And Durnhelm's like, "Don't touch the king. I will smite you if you touch him." And the Witch King's like, "Don't come between the Nazgul and his prey." And then he's like, "You fool! No living man can kill me." And then Durnhelm removes his helmet, and it's revealed to be Eowyn. And she says, "But no living man am I. You look upon a woman." And she's like, "I'm Eowyn, you are trying to basically kill my uncle." And so the Witch King kind of paused and was like, "Oh," he's kind of like, "Well, the prophecy didn't say I wouldn't have died by the hand of a woman." But then he takes out his massive mace, and he attacks Eowyn with it. He breaks her shield. She blocks it, but it breaks her shield and breaks her arm as well. And so he towers over her, and he's about to kill her. And then Merry pops up behind with his barrow right sword that he has from Tom Bombadillo, and he stabs the Witch King in the leg. And the Witch King stumbles forward, and that gives Eowyn the opening. And she thrusts her sword straight into the Witch King's face. In the movies, it is a little different because in the movies they have it where Eowyn gives Merry a ride still, but Merry knows it's Eowyn. And then in the final battle, it does go down pretty much. There's little changes to the dialogue. They cut out some of it and just kind of shortened and abbreviated some of it. But other than that, it's pretty much the same. The Witch King shatters Eowyn's shield with his mace, and then Merry stabs him from behind. And then Eowyn delivers her "I am no man" line, and then stabs the Witch King in the face. That is one of the most iconic, awesome fights in all of Lord of the Rings. And yeah, it's not technically like a full blown sword fight like in Star Wars, where you have like this 15-minute lightsaber duel, or in the Wheel of Time, where it's this like 20-minute fight between two guys holding blades and exchanging words back and forth. And like, but it is just a really fun. It's very short, and I don't know if you really know if it's a fight still. So I am adding it to this list, and if you've got a problem with that, comment. But this is my video, and I think it should be added. So anyway, with that, we're going to move on to number 10 on the list, and this is another Wheel of Time fight. Like I said, Wheel of Time has some of the best sword fights I have ever read. And so this is actually in the final book of the Wheel of Time, the 14th book in the Wheel of Time. It is Landmon Dragarin versus Demon Dread. Now, Demon Dread is essentially the greatest swordsman on the side of evil. He is one of the Forsaken, so he can use the one power, but he is also, and it's like he's a blade master. And Demon Dread has brought this. So basically, what's happening in the final battle of Wheel of Time is all the forces of evil are gathered on all these battlefronts, and all the forces of the light are gathered on all these battlefronts. They're all facing each other off this massive standoff, and the battle was starting to look like it was going to go to the forces of the light. And then Demon Dread pops up with an army that he's brought from across the world. He went across the world to this nation far away and brought this insanely powerful army of Sharans, which really tipped the tide in favor of the Shadow. And so Demon Dread is leading not only this powerful army, but he's also up there on this mountain peak, raining just like destruction down on the armies of light. He's like using the one power to bring like balefire and lightning and just all this crazy stuff. And so the armies of the light are like, we got to do something about this guy. So the Queen of Andor, who is like, she's leading the armies, her younger brother, Garwin Trakand, or excuse me, I butchered that, Gawain Trakand, he puts on these like rings used by the Shan Shan assassins called blood knives. And he's basically these rings that give him like, they shroud him in shadow and give him super speed and strength. And Gawain Trakand is a blade master, and his skill with the sword has been demonstrated multiple times throughout the books. He goes to fight Demon Dread. Demon Dread is basically like, you're skilled, but not skilled enough, and then proceeds to kill Gawain. So then they send Glad Damandred, Gawain's older half brother, and also the half brother to Rand al'Thor. Gawain Trakand is the Lord Captain Commander of the Children of the Light, also known as the White Cloaks. He is also the Queen of Andor's half brother, and he is an even better swordsman than Gawain. And this has been proved time and time again. I think in a couple books previously, he beat Galad Damandred beats a man who is considered to be the best blade master in all the forces of the light. So Galad Damandred goes to fight Demon Dread, and he puts on this medallion that prevents the one power from touching him. And he goes to fight Demon Dread, and Demon Dread is like, "You're better." Still not good enough. And then he cuts off Galad's arm, and Galad is rescued by some Aes Sedai who take him away. But moral of the story, Glad failed to beat Demon Dread. So Demon Dread is just still up there. He's beaten two of the best blade masters that the light has to offer. He's raining destruction down the forces of good, and his armies are a formidable challenge. So then, Landmon Dragarin enters the stage. Now, for 14 books, we have watched Landmon Dragarin be an amazing swordsman, but he is not a blade master, apparently. He does not have a heron marked blade, and he does not claim the title of blade master. And this was very mysterious to me, because I was sitting there watching Land do all these crazy things with his blade that nobody else was able to do, and I was sitting there throughout the book series like, why is he not a blade master? Like, surely the Council of Blade Masters would have granted him a blade master, like the title right now. Like, he deserves it. Landmon Dragarin goes to fight Demon Dread, and he rides the others, like Gawain went to fight Demon Dread, and he was shrouded in shadows. He snuck up on Demon Dread. Galad went through a portal in the air that the Aes Sedai made. Land, the total boss and total king that he is, rides up on his horse to Demon Dread's army. He cuts his way through Demon Dread's soldiers, leaps off his horse, and attacks. Well, first of all, he put on a medallion too that prevents him from reaching out. But he cuts his way through Demon Dread's army, jumps off, and immediately starts attacking Demon Dread. And for the first time that you've seen Demon Dread's perspective in the past, and he's just been like, I'm winning. I've beat these two Blademasters. I've got this massive army. I'm raining destruction down the enemy. For the first time that you get to look in for the first time you see Demon Dread, or you see from his perspective, you see him feel fear. And he looks at Lan and he goes, "Who are you?" And Lan looks at Demon Dread and in his classic Lan fashion goes, "I'm the man who's going to kill you." It then proceeds to be the most epic sword fight in the Wheel of Time. Demon Dread quickly begins to realize that Lan is way better than even Gawain and Galad. And he starts to trying to use the one power, but of course it doesn't work on Lan because Lan's got the medallion. So it becomes a contest of just sheer swordplay. And in the final move, Lan opens himself up, and Demon Dread is like, "Oh, you fool! You're gonna lose." He's like, "You can't win," and he goes for the attack. But what he doesn't realize is Lan was baiting him. And Lan responds to Demon Dread. He goes, "I'm not here to win. I'm just here to kill you." And then Lan delivers the final finishing blow to the Forsaken and kills him. And the whole tide of the battle is turned because of this. And we finally get to see Lan beat a Blade Master and be acknowledged for the true Blade Master that he really is. Which for me, Lan is one of my favorite, like he's in my top 3 favorite characters in the entire book series. I loved him so much. And so just finally watching him get the recognition he deserved was I was listening to the audiobook and I was just sitting there cheering when Lan beat Demon Dread. I was so excited. I was so happy, and it was just a amazing moment for me. And with that, I think we will conclude our best sword fights in all of history of this video series. Let the Blade Masters take the stage. Now, this will not be the last video we do on sword fights. In the future, we will be doing more videos, more in-depth analyses on some of these sword fights and some sword fights that were not listed in this video. So be sure to like, subscribe, be on the lookout for those videos in the future. And if you guys have any particular sword fights you would like me to do a video on, please comment, let me know, and I would love to do those in the future. So have a good day, guys.